Hello and welcome back for a new episode of Toy Box Classics. Today we're going to continue the build for my advanced flight training toy box, and the next area that we are going to build is the asteroid field, which is going to be out that way. This part of my toy box is based on Asteroid Race, created by Crazy by Nick. And in this part of the toy box, you have to make your way up through the asteroids to the Star Command base high above. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different with the build today. Rather than show you how to build the entire asteroid field, which is going to take a while to build, I'm going to show you how to place the first couple of asteroids, and then that way that you'll get a feel for what I'm doing. And then I'm going to build the rest of it offline. And when I'm done, I will come back and give you a quick flyover tour to walk you through it. I think that's going to go faster and result in a shorter video. But those of you who are building this on your own systems will still be able to see exactly what you need to do to recreate this. Alright, so we are starting at the end of the canyons that we built last time. We're going to build out over that direction. And we're going to begin with this long, flat terrain block. We're going to use these as spacers between asteroids. And what you want to do is line this up with the roughly the center of that platform, like you see there. Put it at the same height as the surface of the ground. So this is right at the same level. That's important because as we take off with the jetpack, what we build, we need to be able to get to at that same elevation. So that's kind of crucial. And let me pull up my screen grab here. Okay, so then I'm going to pick this piece up to get to that part of the drawer, and we're going to go right. And we're going to keep going until we find these narrow ledges right here. Okay? And we're going to put this at the same height as that block. Try to center it. Put the other one on the other side of that. And there we go. So when we're all done, we'll delete these spacer blocks. But you can see this tells us, this kind of gives you the spacing that I used between the asteroids, which will help you recreate this exactly as I have it. And it also helps us put this level here at the same level as this over here. So with the jetpack, we can get to that. Okay? Alright, so then for the next one, what we're going to do is come to the end of that one, raise this up a nudge to get it to the same level as the end of that asteroid. Alright, so make sure we do that. Again, the height is very important. We're going to put 2 of these here this time. Okay? And then for our next asteroid, we don't want all of these to look identical. So I'm going to pick this up and put it back. And we're going to go over to the left to this piece here. And I want to center this on these blocks. If you don't get that exactly right, don't worry about it. You'll be close enough. But we want to put this again at the same level that that is. Okay? And I'm going to put 2 of those there, 2 more there. Then we're going to delete that one. Go back to that part of the drawer. Come over and pick up this block. Fill that in like that. Pick this piece up again to get back to that part of the drawer. And we want to use this ramp cliff. We're going to put that right on there, just like you see. Okay? And then because it looks flat on this side of it, we'll come back over here, grab our circular area again, come over and grab this piece. And we'll put that there like that. Okay, So now we have an asteroid with a little bit bigger ramp. Okay. Now I put 2 of these blocks here. And I put it far from this asteroid because I want to put another one in the middle. So what we're going to do now that we have the spacing right, we have the elevation right, for this one, I'm going to pick this piece up and we're going to drop it down 2 nudges. Okay? Same with this one. I could probably just go ahead and delete them, but I'm not going to. And what I want to do is pick this piece back up, get back to that part of the drawer. And we're going to come over here, put it up right on top of that, bring it over to the terrain seam, kind of center it on here, and then flip it around and do that. And what that's going to do is create kind of an obstacle. So when the player flies off the end of this, they're not going to see the next ramp, okay? They're going to see that. And if they fly around that, oh, there's my next ramp. So it's just kind of an interesting little obstacle to give them something to fly around. Because you don't want to make this too easy to just go from asteroid to asteroid. Okay, so then the next one, we're going to center on here like you see there. And then this time we're going to turn. We're going to go that direction with our build. So we'll place one of those there. Okay, so I think you see kind of the pattern of what I'm doing here. We place some spacer blocks, we build the next asteroid, and then we put some more spacer blocks at the height at the end of that asteroid, so we can start building the next one. And we're going to do that and kind of make our way up through the asteroid field. And I'm going to go offline and build the rest of the asteroid field, because again, that's going to take time. It's probably going to take about an hour to do all of this. And then I'll come back and show you what I've got, okay? Okay, the asteroid field build is done. And let me do a quick flyover now to show you what to build. And those of you who are building this on your own systems can pause the video along the way to copy what I've done. So let's start at the end of the last piece here that I had put in before I paused the video. And you'll notice I've got some additional asteroids I've placed. Don't worry about those. We'll come back to those in a little bit. But we'll just continue the build in the direction that I built. So off the end of this, kind of centered, we have this piece, which is the floating waterfall. Okay. And then behind that is this piece, which is the medium waterfall. And what I want you to notice here is the height of that little part of this building piece compared to this one that we finished. Okay, so when you place this piece, you want to make sure that the height of that part of the asteroid is at this part of it. Is at this height here. If you wanted to, you could raise this up and have the player land here at the waterfall and then climb the ledges to get up there. That's another way to go. But I chose to put it at this level, and then I dropped this down to match the height of the water. Okay? And then I put some more of these pieces, the cliff pieces around the perimeter of that. And I confined it mainly to this side where the player is going to see. Okay? Alright, so then up at the height of this end of the waterfall piece, we went ahead and put our next block. And notice how that's lined up with the waterfall piece there. And then we put this piece, which is the half size of that. And then on the corner of that, we put this block. And this, I can't pick that up without causing a collision issue with the tower there, but this is the wide floating cliff, the same one we used earlier at the end of the canyons down there. And I put 4 of those there to create a round landing pad. I'll go ahead and delete that now. And again, it's at the same height as this block. Okay? And then on top of that, we placed the shield tower from the buildings. This is from the Toy Story in Space playset. Okay? So the player flies here. They get to the top of the tower and the dish. And then I want you to notice where we place the next block here, height-wise, compared to that top of that platform. It's a little bit lower. If I bring this up a nudge, it'll be too high. So we have to drop that down just a little bit so the player can leap off the end of this and fly over top of that block. And this edge of it is lined up with the edge down here. Okay, and we're roughly centered on the tower. So we place that, and then off the end of that we have two of these large cliff ledges side by side with this wide floating bridge hill in the middle. Okay? And then another one of these little large rounded cliffs on the end. And then our next block goes after that, our next spacer, and notice the height of that is at the height of the top of this bridge. Okay? So I placed one there, and then I've got two of these, one here, one here. We have this large cliff piece here on the end of it. Can I pick that up, or will that cause a problem? Oh, that's okay. It's the massive rounded cliff. I put one on either side. And then sitting on top of that, we placed the bluff. And I put one on each side back to back. And then the next spacer block goes at the height of that bluff. Okay. Kind of centered on that. Come around the corner over here with another block. And then we come in here with two more of these, kind of like what we just built on the previous asteroid, with another massive cliff on either end. But this time, instead of putting the bluff on top, I put another one of these, which is the ramp cliff. Okay? And then what you're going to do is place this, actually, at the same height as that. Okay? And you're going to place two of those. And that will lead you over here to these. And this is the same as the first asteroid that we built. We're using the cliff slopes. Okay? And notice I put it at the corner over here of this piece. And then I lowered both of these pieces like we did last time, or earlier. And I put another one of these asteroids here in the middle. So again, when you fly off the end of this, you don't see right away where you need to go. If you come around this way, there's the next one up there. All right, then the next spacer block goes right off the corner of that ramp like that. Put one of those down, and then more of those corner blocks out here. Okay? And again, I'll show you which one that is. That's this one. And I put 4 of those to create another platform, just like I did with the tower down there. And then this time we put in a mountain tunnel on top of the middle of that, like you see there. And then we put down this floating rope cliff way up here, and I put it so that the height of the rope is right down here just off the top of that ledge. And then I put this next to it, a small floating cliff. Okay? And then our next spacer block goes on the end of that. And you can see how I centered it. I centered it basically on that block. But again, if you're off a little bit to the left or right, that's okay. It's not going to cause a problem. And we put 2 of those down. And then on the corner of it, we put down another large rounded cliff. Pick it up. There you go. With another wide bridge, hill, and another large cliff. And then the next spacer block goes at the height of that bridge. This time we go kitty corner with the next placement. So you can see how I placed that. And then we come up to our next asteroid. And once again, I placed the overhanging cliff ledge. I placed the square block behind that, long tiny terrain block. We placed one of these on either side. And we placed our ramp cliff on the middle. So I'm trying to make each of these look similar because we only have a certain number of pieces here. So you can't help but make them look similar, but I'm trying to make them each look a little bit different. All right, and then we have our next spacer block, followed again by 2 more cliff slopes. Our next spacer block, again at the height of that. We round the corner. I've got 4 of those corner blocks again, making a little platform here. And this time, I put 2 of these rocky climbing cliff blocks back to back. Okay. Now our next spacer block is lined up with the edge of these round pieces there. And the height of this, I put at the height of the top of that little spire there. Okay. I put one of those large ones, one of these half-size ones. And then we've got our large rounded cliffs. I put them corner to corner all the way around one of these small flat terrain blocks. And again with bluffs on the top, 2 of them back to back. The next spacer goes at the height of those bluffs. And then again we go kitty corner. And for a little bit of an obstacle this time, we placed a couple of those massive rounded cliffs back to back here, just to kind of present a wall there as the player's flying. And then we come over here, once again, 2 of these long tiny terrain blocks with the massive rounded cliff on either side and the ramp cliff positioned like you see there. And then the next spacer block goes at the height of that. Comes over here. Again, we got 4 of those large corner blocks with this piece sitting on top, the mountain cave. Okay. And the height of the saddleback here is going to get us at the height that we need to get to Zerg's battle cruiser, which we'll build next time. Okay, so that is the path through the asteroids. All right. And then I went back because you don't want just the asteroids you have to use. You want this to look like an asteroid field. And so I placed some additional asteroids here and there. So starting at the beginning where we were, I placed a couple more of these pieces back to back at the height you see there. I placed a couple of them over here. And you notice I brought that down a nudge. We don't want them all at the same height. We want them kind of spaced around left and right, up and down. I created another one of these over here with the 4 corner blocks and another one of those saddleback pieces there, the mountain cave, on top of that. Of course, we put this one in earlier. And you want to give kind of the idea that you're still in the middle of the asteroid field and not entirely on the edge of it. So I put a couple more of these large rounded cliffs over here like that. And then I raised it up a little bit. And we put another one up over here. That just gives you some additional scenery. And we put another one up over here on the corner of this. Again, the exact placement doesn't matter, but you'll notice it's higher than the pieces that are over there. This one's a little bit higher still. This is the massive rounded cliff. 2 of them back to back. And over here, we created another of them. Notice how high this is. So it's not at the same height as the spacer block over there. This one's a little bit lower than that last scenic asteroid. This one's, again, a little higher. I dropped one over here that's lower because you don't, again, want everything at the same level. You want them above you, below you. We got one over here. Kind of at that height. So a little bit above the surface of that. When you get over to this side, I've got another one here. And another one over here. So you're just kind of placing them around. And you're trying to give the idea that they're not just going from asteroid to asteroid, they're going through the asteroids. And again, you've got them at different elevations here. The massive cliffs. Another smaller one over here. We've got one sitting up over here. And by the way, these do serve as another purpose besides just scenery. Because in the video, you may have noticed we had an enemy up over here. And where do you hide the enemy wave generator? Well, if you try to put it under the terrain, you can see it from below. If you try to put it up here somewhere on the asteroid, the player will see it. So what you can do, I've got this one sitting up here higher, and the player is not going to see the top of this asteroid. So I can kind of hide the enemy wave generator up here. So that's kind of another purpose for some of these, especially the ones that are up towards the top of the asteroids here. Kind of sneaky, but you want to make it work for you. So the scenery serves 2 purposes. Scenery and a sneaky little hiding mechanism. Right, and then we don't have any extra little asteroids out over here. Till we get to the one over here that I showed you how to build. Like so. Okay? And then that gets you to the end of the asteroids. Now, when you're all done building this, what I would recommend is start down there by the little escape pod and put your jetpack on and fly this, okay? Leave all the spacer blocks in and make sure that you can get from asteroid to asteroid and follow the path to get up here. Because if you don't do that and you delete this, if you ended up accidentally placing one of these at the wrong height, you may not be able to get up here. So fly it, make sure that you can get from down there to up here. And once you verify that, then you can go back and you can delete all of these spacer blocks, okay? Because you won't need them anymore. And it's important to fly that first, again, to make sure everything is lined up. Because that way, if you did place one at the wrong height, you'll be able to find it. And then you can adjust the height of that and everything that follows and find it pretty easily and fix it. But once you have verified that you can fly it, then you can take all these things out. And this will just take me a moment to do. I want to take this out so you can see the final result here, and to show you that it's not too difficult. Again, we're just taking out the spacer blocks. And I'm showing you exactly which pieces to take out. But these will help you to recreate my asteroid field exactly as I have it, with all the right spacing and everything. And there we go. And so now, when we come over here, and we stand on the edge of this thing, now you can see we have a huge asteroid field. And it's quite the maze to try to figure out how to get through if you're not the one who built it. But there's a logical progression that leads from asteroid to asteroid, so it's not too difficult. And that is it for the asteroid field. Next time we will build the first of Zerg's battle cruisers. You won't want to miss that, so be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. And if you're enjoying this toy box build and this series, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend.